Kia ora and welcome to The Creative Exchange, a podcast where we talk to creatives, share stories and pass something on inspiring to the next guest.
And today our guest is the almighty Fran Kora.
Now if you know Kora, you know they've been a massive force in the New Zealand music industry. And next year marks 20 years since their original EP dropped out, which is absolutely wild.
Yeah, but before we get to that EP, we're going to take it all the way back to the beginning, when he was 8 years old, performing in RSAs and pubs across Whakatāne with his dad and his brothers.
We also talked to him about a conversation he had while he was hitchhiking that led him to drama school, where he learned all the skills he takes into his performances today.
The story behind the almighty song Politician, being a part of the Modern Māori Quartet, performing songs like Politician in Te Reo Māori, his take on AI in the music industry, and his new project, Boogie Baddie.
So tune in, let's get into it.
Well, Franny, thank you for joining us on the first episode of the Creative Exchange. Very appreciative to have you here in the studio. We just finished the amazing live set, and we'll deep dive into one of those songs shortly. But for anyone watching or listening, how would you introduce yourself to someone you met like at the street or a party in terms of like the industry and what you do?
Well, normally I never really mention what I do when people ask, you know. And then eventually they figure it out and they go, "Oh, you're blah 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 from blah blah blah." But you know, if people wanted to know, I don't know, just a creator in music mainly, and oh, that's a tricky one. That's a tricky question, that one.
Put you on the spot.
Yeah. And I suppose like just from skills that I've learned over the years, like managing energy as a creator, like how you can control the energy of a room when it comes to performance, whether it be on a big stage or in a pub, you know. There's different techniques in how you work the room, so there's a lot of that kind of stuff as well. So how do you teach that? What is it? You know, it's just an energy thing.
Yeah.
So a manager of energy is a nice way to put it, I suppose.
Yeah, sweet. And I guess speaking of pubs, we're gonna rewind the clock a bit and talk about Zigzag.
Oh yeah.
So I guess those are sort of the formative years for you and your brothers, jamming with your dad. How did that all start, and what was it like being these sort of young kids and like the RSAs and stuff like that?
Yeah, it was cool, man. It taught me a lot. In Whakatāne, there were very few DJs in town. It was an area where there was just all bands. So there was probably 5 or 6 bands that were around Whakatāne, Kawerau, Portuguese and stuff, but being thrown into that realm with the old man was really cool. That's where you kind of learn all the things from. Just performing live with the old man, we about 8 years old, I was 8, Brad was about 10, 11, and just playing in pubs with the adults. As a young kid, you learn a lot. You grow up real fast because you see things that adults do, and mainly when they're pissed, you know.
Yeah.
But and that was really the foundation of what landed us with experience before even coming into or being recognised with Kora. But yeah, there's a long history and long foundation of playing live every weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday most times, and we were kids, so the experience is already been had before reaching, you know, on the bigger stage with the Koras and the Bros and the LAB and stuff. It's just experience, you can't really teach that, but that's where it teaches you the energy and how to read the room, how to read people, and recognise those kinds of things, you know.
And did you start on a particular instrument, or did you sort of go through, to learn everything, or what?
Bro, to be honest, man, the bass is the only instrument I really know how to play. I can play basic stuff on the guitar and on the keys, but bass is the only one I really was taught. The other bros play multiple instruments.
Yeah.
I'm just a bass player, really.
But did you have to get thrown into playing keys sometime, or nah? Just
bro,
that?
I know major chord and minor chord, bro.
Sweet, yeah.
And then I'm just like doing T-Rexes to go find the right note. That's the note there, and then I'll try and remember it
Well, at
I'm
least
writing,
you're solid on one thing. So.
Oh man, Tyrannosaurus Rex fingers.
Yeah.
What was your dad's reasoning behind getting, his sons involved rather than, getting some older, experienced musicians to be his band, or did he want to keep it tight within the family?
I think he had both, bro, because he had been working with bands for years, and we know all the musos, but they'd always have argues, and it was all over money, and I think he just kind of got sick of that because he was really driving the band, trying to get it to get lots of gigs and all that stuff, but it's like, I'm going to train these guys up so that's the band, and he just cracked the whip on us. So
And didn't really have to pay you, eh?
well, yeah, I mean, there was just some great memories, but
Yeah.
we got maybe like $20 or something, and a month after the gig, but like $20 to us as kids,
All the lollies.
we're rich.
That's kind of the small town ethos, eh?
Yeah, man,
Yeah.
and then like this is how far back it was. We'd finish the gig, and then we'd go to a place. Harry's was the only place that you could get fish and chips at night time.
Yeah.
So we'd go there, order that. But the best thing about it, they had spaceys out the back.
Yes.
That's where our $20 went, bro.
It's good priority, good priority.
Last thing on spaceys, bro.
Are there any core memories from that time of you and your brothers in those early stages that sort of sticks with you? Any particular gigs or?
Yeah, the amazing one, like at the RSAs, we'd play at RSAs or cozy clubs, and there's a point you'd start playing music. No one's dancing, but there'll be elderly like on the outskirts of the dancing floor. And this is the RSA in Whakatāne as an example. But Doug, he was a duty manager, and when Doug came out, he looked like what's his name from The Love Boat, Isaac, the moustache and then bell bottoms, but he was always well presented, and he'd walk out with this container of baby powder and start sprinkling it on the floor. And as a first experience, me and Brad was on drums looking at you, what the hell's going on here? And then that's when all the elderly would get up. They'd use the baby powder so they could slide their feet when they dance.
Right.
True.
Yeah, so that's probably my
Tricks
favorite.
of the trade.
Yeah, but and then from then on, we're just like, oh, here comes Doug. The love boat. Yeah, sprinkle it on the ground, and then everyone to start dancing. It was cool.
That's amazing.
So it's an area that a lot of musicians would never have experienced. So
No.
I think that's why it was really cool. It taught us the older ways and playing foxtrots and waltzes and all that stuff. Then you'd play at a rugby club. It was like the Rock FM or your classic kind of 80s Aussie rock and New Zealand rock, And then, other places you'd have to adapt to the different things, otherwise you couldn't work.
Yeah.
So that's what the old man taught us.
It's like versatility.
You had to
in
be,
your art.
otherwise,
Yeah.
the gigs were there for you.
How many songs do you reckon? What was the catalogue for you guys?
I can't even really remember, to be honest, bro. I know there was a lot of stuff, and my old man never really knew the lyrics to any of the songs, bro. And he had the songbook, and me and Brad would go through the songbook, and he had there's no particular place to go, and in those lyrics he's got no manicular place to, just the wrong words completely. So he's just singing the wrong words all the time. Oh man. That's probably why I suck at lyrics too,
That's
hard
that's
work.
like atypical improvisation,
Oh, bro,
Just
it's
doing, taking it.
crack up. And it's a technique that he does where you're just spitting in it. It's more percussive because he doesn't know the fucking words.
People pay a lot of money to learn improvisation, so you can just go to a club and do it.
He was a master.
Yeah.
Oh, it's crack up, bro.
So you started that, say, when you were 8
Yeah, 8.
through till
To the end of high school, 17.
far out.
Just playing with the old man. But it was how it began with my old man, my auntie Cherie, Brad on the drums, and myself on the bass. We did play one gig, and that was our very first gig, which was a year or two before that, Telethon. Way back in the days, what was it?
That was like a theme song, a theme.
84 or
show.
85,
Yeah.
somewhere there. But it went through all the small towns,
Yeah, all right, yeah.
and we had one at the little theatre in Whakatāne, and that was our first gig with the old man. Taught us 2 songs. One was from Gary Moore and one was from Santana. And then you think you just perform it once and then that was it. But no, because so we ended up performing those same 2 songs like at different parts of the 24 hours.
Holy
So we probably
shit.
played it like 4 or 5 times, you know.
Well, at least you get to learn the chart, eh? You get to learn the track.
Oh man, we never were taught by that. It was just by ear and what
Oh,
key you
yeah.
in.
Yeah.
And that was our very first gig. But she was on keys, I was on bass, Brad on drums, my old man,
Yeah.
and my auntie Cherie on keyboards and
So
vocals.
cool.
So it's always been a pretty family affair in terms
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
music and musicians.
Yeah.
I guess let's fast forward a bit. You've got all this music experience, and then you end up at drama school doing some acting. Was there any correlation there, or what was the sort of stride to get you to drama school?
Well, there's a real cool story which influenced a song that played before called Calling. But I did drama during high school and music, and then left. When I left school, I came up to Auckland to study sports science, and I hated it. So I said, nah, I hate this. Went back to Whakatāne, and I just did labour, concrete. And at the time, my girlfriend was living in Tauranga. So I'd work during the week. Come the weekend, I'd hitch over and go and see her. She was studying over there. And while I was hitching over there, I got picked up from an old matua, an old Māori or tohunga. And for those who don't know what a tohunga is, they specialise in certain gifts. And he picks me up, and he has a granddaughter in the front passenger seat. I jump in the back, and then he starts kind of rattling off, oh, you're Tūhoe on your dad's side. Never met him before. And it's like, oh, yeah, your mum is from blah, blah, blah. And I'm just sitting in the back just going, how the hell, I've never met this fella before. Pulls into Te Puke, and they say, oh, boy, we're just going to go and get a couple of things from the supermarket. I'm sitting there buzzing out, saying, how the hell does this dude know me? They get back into thing with their shopping, and while they're pulling out, the granddaughters go, oh, Papa, is he one? And the old guys go, no, that's not that guy there, as though. And he's got an injured leg, and sure enough,
What the
I'm
hell?
walking away, you know. So,
Yeah.
and then we're making our way towards Tauranga, and just before he's about to drop me off, he's talking about all these other things, and he's going, oh, yeah, it's coming to me, Avalon. I had no idea what Avalon was. I was 18 years old. And we get to the drop-off point, and he grabs my arm and goes, boy, you have to believe. He says, I see your name on billboards. I see your name on billboards, on TV, and you're telling me Avalon. You have to believe. And I was, what the hell's going on here? So I thanked them for the ride, and they left. Believe, boy. Going to meet my girlfriend, and eventually hitchhike back home. I tell Mum the story. She goes, boy, you got picked up from a tohunga, and told me the whole thing. And she goes, Avalon's in Wellington. That's, the old TV studios down there. I didn't know Avalon even existed. I'm from Whakatāne. So Mum and Dad, they got together, and they were just like, hey, look, we should send this boy to Wellington. And they asked me, they got a bunch of pamphlets, say, would you be interested in drama? Yep. That's how I ended up in Wellington. And eventually Kora was made 2 years later,
So
and the rest is history.
So just a lucky dip, really, in some ways, out of like what you could have done creatively down there. You did the drama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it kind of minced into a whole bunch of things.
Yeah.
All the arts, look, essentially it's all the same thing. It's just got different processes of how to get
It's
it
a
out.
pretty beautiful story and a beautiful journey to it, eh?
Yeah. And it
Yeah.
always reminds me of how things started,
Yeah.
and humbles you. So,
Yeah.
it's the thing that's kind of kept me straight and narrow and gives you a bit of a purpose,
Yeah.
So it's, blessed with that guidance in a way,
The North Star.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, buzzy.
Your brother Lorden, he also ended up at drama school.
Yeah.
Was that because of you?
Yes, and yeah, I think so. Because he was down in Queenstown, he was doing musical theatre down there. And the director of the show down there said, hey, you should go to Whakaari. And he goes, my brother's in Whakaari. So I was a reference, and yeah, he got it. So he was a year below me. Yeah, Nah. And we've kept those skills ever since. There's certain skills that we've kept, and we use them either every day or on the stage or in the creative process. And and there's still heaps that we're still yet to unpack. Even the Whakaari.
Yeah.
There's still stuff now that the coins go, oh, that's what that was about. Probably should have paid more attention. Yeah.
It was during drama school that you and Lordy had the idea for Kora, or was it just how did, I guess, what is the birth of Kora, the sort of the starting point?
Yeah.
Was it jams?
Yeah, we were playing in a cafe called the Ballroom. It was next to the Whakaari building.
Yeah.
So, and, students would go there every Thursday. I think they had bubbles night. And me and Lordy would just jam. I was on bass, he was on guitar and singing, and both be singing. And we get a feed and maybe $20 each. But that was it. Just students having fun. And then
Still
Mikey
good.
from Loop saw us and said, hey, cool, man. You guys are cool. Have you got any originals? Lordy and Dan, when he was in Queenstown, we were writing music then, so we recorded one of those tracks. It was Politician. And the rest, from there was history. But there's more to it, how Politician come out. But we tracked
the
Politician via Loop,
Right.
Mikey Tucker, from playing in the Ballroom.
Yeah.
Just having a bit of fun, getting the kai as a student.
How was that?
Then we recorded Politician in Wellington.
Yeah.
And there was a competition at the time. It was Space TV, and people could vote in. So the song come through and Politician won, and what you won was a video clip, music video clip that was free. And so we won that. That was released, and then didn't think it would go that big in New Zealand,
Yeah, it's because it's crazy, like, everybody knows that song.
Yeah.
To see how it's come from something like that, just like, hey boys, do you have any originals? And then you put that out, and then that's that. That's
Yeah, well,
crazy.
that song was actually written down in Queensland. The real reason is KP, he wrote the song Pop 'em, and it was to legalise weed, the original meaning for it. And then Lordy and Dan came up, and we recorded Politician, and it just kept it as a neutral. It can be used for anything politically.
Yeah.
But originally it was to
But the
legalise weed.
the ethos of that track is still there, regardless of what it is for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
just because of its simplicity, I'm like, man, it's such a simple song, but
it goes off.
It still gets used today,
It goes off.
With that track, like, how long did it take from it, like, I guess its highest notoriety to that moment of you guys just getting picked up and asked to, do you have any originals, to the notoriety? How long did that take? Was it a short amount of time, or was it like...
I think it was, pretty short amount of time. Like, we were green as going into studios. But we went into, so Politician happened, the video was released, then we went into surgery and recorded the first EP. And because we'd only really come from a live performance background, we were just doing gigs, coming into a studio that's a completely different beast, eh? And if it's your first time doing it, you're just playing like you're playing in a pub.
Yeah.
And you're just not caring about tones and stuff, and it's still raw, but that's where you start to go, oh, this is really different. It requires different skills, a different way of you're capturing it. You're trying to capture it
It's
the best you can.
The approach to your instrument, the approach to everything is different.
Yeah. Capturing the energy, the story, and you don't realise that when you're just going home, go for it. That's probably the best thing.
Yeah.
Because you're not thinking about it as much. You just go for it. And that's what I miss the most. Anyway, that EP was recorded then. That went out, and we just got a whole bunch of gigs from it, made some money, put that towards making the first album. And then that was made in a garage in Edgecombe.
Yeah.
A garage / warehouse, like steel walls, everything, man. And then the first album was released, and that's what really kicked Kora off to performing the bigger stages. And
I do remember this live album you guys dropped out, and it had that. It was like Cheers to Ada Mill, our sound man.
Oh yeah, far out. Yeah, all the bootlegs. There's a few bootlegs around
there.
That
one at high school, I used to play so much, and I was like, I don't know who Ada Mills is, but you just keep yelling them out. Shout out to Ada Mills.
Yeah, man. And when it comes to storytelling, like, when you're young and you're gung ho, you just like, you just want to,
Yeah.
play hard and not care too much about things. But lyrically, it was always kind of crap until I went to drama school, because your job is to tell a story of something, and then that got me thinking more about the story side of things, not just lyrically, but the song also had to take you on the same, got to be riding in the same boat, to get to this, same result. You want people to feel how they can experience what you're thinking and what you're making.
Did that whole experience, I've got so many questions, did that whole part of that experience happen while you're at drama school, or did you sort of stop drama school when you were when the EP had come out and etc.?
No, well, there's certain skills about energy that I had taken from drama school.
Yeah.
Me and Lori, myself and Lori, and that's a lot of people used to think it's quite a theatrical show, the earlier stage Kora shows, and that is because of drama school.
That pause.
Yeah, the pause, but like even how you project energy.
Yeah.
One of those things that I learned from drama school is from Tom, our movement teacher, Tom McCrory, and I took this. Me and Lottie both took this way, and that's what's kind of molded us. But your audience is just the mirror reflection of what energy you're giving your audience. So you come in on the stage,
Yeah.
It's all about confidence. It's a mirror reflection of what you're giving, so your audience is going to be awkward.
Yeah.
So that's when, what we talked about at the beginning of this conversation, the energy management that's the skill. That's the craft of, you can use that to your advantage.
Bring the power.
Right, we're going to go this way. We're going to make you put your hands up. But it's all in an energy way which serves these guys are going to have a great time, because we're having a great time too. Yeah. And you can only do that from being on the stage and doing it.
Yeah.
You can't practice that at home. You need an audience. You need difficulty.
It's about to pull back and pull from. And
but it just shows how strong your energy management is.
Yeah.
Because you can have an audience and they fucking hate you.
Yeah.
So you got to use your craft to change that energy. And then eventually you get them.
Yeah.
Let's go, motherfuckers. And they'll come with you. And that's the skill that the more you do it, you just get better at it.
Yeah. You can captivate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's not even, the music is, like I say, we all got to jump in the same boat, go the same direction. So does that energy, And that was the electrifying thing about having the original crew.
Yeah.
But the band, even today, still get the same result. When you're in the pocket, just sweet, we got them. Let's play.
Whole bunch of ninjas just going hard.
What was, I guess, one of your earliest memories of that moment where you could feel like the audience energy? Was it them all singing along, or how some artists talk about the moment that they, quote unquote, made it, where they can hear the whole audience singing the songs back to them? Do you have any memories of that? Yeah,
there's probably definitely Politician or Burning, and of later date, even Drop Dead Killers still today. Play their last Never Run Away thing, so I just don't sing.
It's a good track.
And they just sing, thank you, because I've got no voice left. It's the last song. Yeah, but yeah, always, no particular place. Actually, just, this summer was probably the biggest crowd that we've had.
Was that the Electric Ave one?
Yeah, Electric Avenue.
Yeah, they look pretty good.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
Yeah.
But it felt like Big Day Out. Because, you've got like Big Day Out was kind of set up. But it was epic.
Bring it back.
Yeah, and during the day as well.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
What was the energy like of that gig?
It's good. It's just, it's crazy. It's just so big.
Yeah.
It's like, holy shit. Everything's big, man.
How many played? How many were in the audience?
Maybe there was 25,
Far out.
possibly. But they had 90,000 over the 2 days, so you got 45,000 people each day.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And there's 5 big stages.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was mean to have fucking, as far as you could see, bro. It was wicked.
Damn.
Yeah.
Now you might not want to hear this, but next year will be 20 years since that EP dropped.
Woo!
Is there any plans or anything to sort of celebrate that milestone?
Yes, actually, there is an idea. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to share this now, but
NDAs.
That's
yeah.
all right. We don't have to
I'll
be
say
that
I'll say it to you can cut out. But
Hey everyone, Matt here in the editing suite. Yeah, we can't share this unfortunately, but it is pretty exciting. You're just going to have to wait till next year to find out.
we're gonna play them.
Well,
Yeah,
we'll have to get you both on the
That's the
podcast
man.
again.
yeah,
Full
yeah,
band.
bro. He's the man.
Yeah.
And then fast forward to, was it 2013 you started with Modern Māori Quartet, aka MMQ?
I think so.
2013, 2014, somewhere around there.
Being dates behind me aren't very good.
But that I guess is a completely different style and energy you have to bring for that show, because I guess it's more following the legacy of the show bands, and I guess the original intention what James Tito did to bring you guys together and to form that group. What was it like sort of switching from Kora to coming into MMQ?
It was easy because the MMQ was the foundation we talked about earlier. The RSA is the Māori show band's music. We played all that as kids, so it was like that's actually my foundation that I had with Dad. So it was an easy transition to go to the Māori Quartet.
So did you do any show band back in the day?
Well, just in the RSAs, you'd be
that.
singing similar
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
to Prince Tuiteka,
Yeah.
you know, and like cheeky songs.
Yeah.
But I think it's an area where it really shows the cheekiness of Māori. You know, like my old man would go, what is it? We do the hokey toki and you go, you put your raho in, which was your balls. But Pākehā wouldn't know what balls are, so they'd put their whole self in the middle. And would crack up, you know. So that's where that humour, similar humour to the quartet, grew up
Yeah,
playing that
yeah.
stuff. So it was an easy transition.
And you got that. I guess it's the raw, stripped back storytelling. Sometimes it's one guitar, sometimes it's two, and then you bring the cajon and the bass as well. And when it came to writing the first album, That's Us, I remember you guys showing some demos and stuff. You went away to the farm and did some writing. But I remember when we were recording that, you were very much about being raw and the storytelling, and the storytelling element is such an important focus for you in music. And we know we saw in an interview that you said, modern music is just too polished, too
Correct.
too perfect.
Yeah.
And so what is it about having a story that's important for you for music? Why is raw better?
Because I think it just has the purest connection as a human would hear it or feel it. I think the more you tend to polish things up, the more you take away from the human feel and the experience.
Yeah.
That's why I like raw, because you go, oh, that sounds real. That's what raw means to me. It sounds real.
It's moving across the line. The meter's not just like zeros and ones.
It can
It's
be
not-
flat as well, but it's
Yeah.
more just like
Yeah.
when you hear something that's quite raw, you feel like you're in the same room with them. You know, when you start to polish it up and you take it and it's all fancy, there's a time and place for that, and it's mean. I still do that, but certain things just sound better raw because, like,
Yeah.
shit, I feel like I'm in the room with that person.
Because it is
Yeah,
coming
it's-
back, that kind of like, you're not perfect sequencing if it's like electronic music and it's trying to be more in the pocket rather than just too focused
Yeah, I
on
think
the grid.
the closest experience would probably be the Tiny Desk things, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's vulnerable, it's real.
Yeah.
And they've just got a couple of mics up.
Yeah.
So you actually have to be good.
Yeah.
You know?
There's not going to be 120 takes of your, I don't know, whatever instrument you're playing.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah,
straight
I
up.
mean, the older I've gotten too, but I'm sort of going off topic a little bit, but that's why I don't care too much about being perfectly in time. I think you're missing the whole point if you're going for that. It's more just like, what's the energy that you can, if it's to make you go, yeah, like that's the energy that you're going for, you know?
Do you think that like it's more when it's not perfect, it's more authentically yourself as well?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Rather
exactly.
than something you're embodying or influenced too much by another person or another act.
Yeah, I mean, and
Yeah.
this is just how I like it to feel.
Yeah.
And that's just my process. You don't have to follow it at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
But personally, it's better. You know, I feel like it's better that you have the right energy. And there's like bands that I listen to that aren't perfectly playing super tight, but it's the best shit ever. You know, because it serves it matches the energy.
You're
they're going
feeling
for.
the entire ensemble rather than just
Then hearing the clinical,
click.
you can hear like.
Yeah.
You can tell a lot of people what the music they listen to.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's stuff that people like the perfection world. And that's fine. It's cool. And then there's ones that like, all they care about is how it makes them dance or how it makes them feel. So it's all subjective, really. But it's once you know what your one is and how I can control that thing, that's a different story. Because I go, oh, they're coming to see that and experience this. You get that choice of, you know what I mean? I'm kind
but
of
it is
off
that
the thing.
It is that. I mean, even lately in production in our world, I've been seeing heaps of videos of producers saying, you know, gridlock an echo or a delay to, I don't know, quarters, eighths or sixteenths or something, and then you take it off and just put it on time and move it just off a little bit so it's not in time, but it's still close enough to being in time. Yeah. But it's like you could just do that from the beginning. Yeah, but it's like they're trying to you know,
they're just making, and that's fine. There's no rules to how you get the end result, right?
No. But that ends up being authentically you, which is kind of what you're saying. Yeah. It's like you're striving for the authentic self or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, that's what originality is, really. Yeah. It's just it just means the truth. So my truth is different to yours.
Yeah.
You know, and when it comes to creativity, your process is going to be different to mine.
Yeah.
And but it's not to say I'm not going to do your thing. No. It might help me. Hey, how did you do that? How did you sidechain that compressor? Blah blah blah.
I had a absolute sub question that I really wanted to ask, which was, what is your opinion on like AI in the music industry? Which is a really, really
it's fine, bro. It's a tool. I reckon it's an amazing tool.
It's just how it's used.
It's how it's used. Yeah. Because you can prompt ideas. The way I'd use it is like I'd have an idea and I'll throw that in, and then I could take the best parts out of that Suno or the version that has been made. Doesn't mean I'm gonna just like that's me. Everyone.
No.
You know.
More as like a writing tool than a
I'd use it as a writing tool, never as a release tool.
Yeah.
No.
But some people will just be like, thanks, yep, download the WAV.
Yeah.
I wrote a song.
And then it all starts to sound the same because it's got the same personality. All that
and I
stuff.
guess
it's cool, but
as creators, do you think we need to protect our catalogs from them being used to train those models, or are we sort of
100%.
100%.
100%. There's already people going to court for it now.
Yeah.
And but like, and it's the artist has written this song. The producer that was helping to write the music used her voice without even asking, throws it into AI, and now she's devastated because she spent 20 years of her craft, vocal craft, and it's just been used as a voice on AI song making things. You know. It's crazy. Yeah, but how I would use it, which I think is brilliant, I can't afford a brass band. So I'm going to sing into the thing, I need this line to be da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I need it to sound like a soul brass band. Yeah. Because that would cost me...
thousands of bucks.
Probably thousands of bucks to track them, you know, with the gear, with the room, with the blah, blah, blah. But I can instantly get that idea. So I'd use that as a tool.
Yeah.
I'm not against it. It's here, man. It's like...
yeah, it's kind of all
plugins.
encompassing. We can't
do you use plugins or do you only use analog?
A bit of both.
Plugins.
A bit of it, mostly plugins.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
Plugins.
Yeah. It's always really interesting to sort of get people's opinions and their sort of mind state on the current space, because it is just so it's such a fast state that where all the models are learning things so fast. I feel like the pitch is undeniably, like, you can kind of tell when it's AI derived. You can.
Just like the mixes are just so perfect.
Yeah.
They're just like, there's AI. Then you can tell that the same voices that are normally used on the same genres.
Yeah.
And just a different story behind it. And some of it's fucking mean, bro. But I would never buy that. No way.
So authentically trying to keep things rough and more human is your approach.
That's my approach. Yeah.
Yeah. But
I prefer demos.
And this future wave of AI that's coming with, let's legislate it and protect ourselves, I think.
Yeah. Flicking back to the quartet, for you as a Māori, how important was that whole kaupapa for you being a part of that, and how has it strengthened your journey with kind of Te Reo Māori?
Yeah, it's been amazing, man, because out of the crew, I'm the only one that doesn't speak Te Reo Māori. And just over the years, I learned heaps of, I grew up around it, so I can follow conversations, but I can't reply in Te Reo Māori yet. But being with the boys, there'd be moments where that's all they spoke, eh? It's really cool. And then the other reason I love it the most, the quartet, is because, I don't know, it comes from a place of love, really, eh? We have our moments, man, you know?
Yeah.
And but it's always from a place of love, and that's very Māori what the boys do within music. And the boys they look good.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of cool places, and it's got a particular style.
Yeah.
You know, it's like quite unique. It's not reinventing the wheel, but there's something about a mixture of voices where they're not perfect. Then it has this interesting little thing that goes like this and then kind of sorts it out, but that's actually the sound of the quartet.
Yeah.
Where it's like slightly out of pitch. But four voices.
Did you tune
four
the
voices
guitar, bro?
slightly out of pitch actually sounds beautiful. Like
Yeah.
that's the sound of the quartet, eh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And having
it's magic.
seen one of your performances, it's pretty powerful.
Yeah, but it's like you're taking a certain part of what we do on a stage and you're sharing that with the world. So it's like a classy garage party, and you're just taking that places around the world, around the country. It's been awesome.
And so did that encourage you, because you've done like waiata anthems, for example, so taking a song and putting in Reo Māori, and Politician is also in the Reo Māori. Is that through that journey that you wanted to do that and challenge yourself to put those songs in another language?
Yeah, a bit of both, really. Like there was the kick-off, start of it, and it's actually just really scary, bro. Like even like having those songs translated into Te Reo Māori, it was like, I felt like I was putting pressure on myself. I was like, I better get this right. That kind of fear, you know? So I
there's a lot of pressure on getting it right.
Getting it right, yeah, because like, one, you're just scared of getting it wrong with the language.
Yeah.
And because it's so important to you that you don't want to mess it up. So it was quite hard to do, man. And I can understand why a lot of non-Reo speakers have trouble wanting to learn Te Reo, because it's scary, man, at first, but also very empowering once you've gone through a little bit of just like, you know, even just with the song, it's like, whoa.
Was there a lot of crew around you, like instructing and helping you to sort of...
Yeah, you have translators who specialise in Reo Māori and you know, the translators with waiata anthems, and then it's run by the crew. Oh, I forgot his name again, but he's one of the masters of Te Reo Māori, and he has a final run over it. He goes, "Yep, make sure it's correct." He's the highest teacher of Te Reo Māori in New Zealand.
And what other things did you get out of that experience by doing that?
Just reconnecting with Te Ao Māori, but especially with things back at home in Whakatāne and Waimana. My brother lives out there, and folks and still, you know, back in Whakatāne. And just reconnecting with the place again. Is and all of us back at home as well, there's a big surge of everyone learning Reo, all the younger crew.
So cool.
This is cool.
And what was it like to perform those tracks live for the first time? I imagine you were pretty nervous.
Yeah, I'd still prefer the Reo version of Politician Taraketi than... so we do half and half. And when the Reo version comes in the second half, every time it's like, it just flows out of the mouth easier as well, you know, it's wicked.
Yeah.
But like, when you start singing in Reo Māori, then even if you're overseas, you hear this, Woo! Here's the Māoris.
So the 5th season recently got released last year. Amazing album. What are you up to next, or sort of what's in the future for yourself and Kora?
Yeah, I'm going to take a little bit of a hiatus from that. This year, still do a couple of gigs here and there, but give that a break. But yeah, after 5th season is, I just wanted to write my own stuff for a little bit. So I started a new project called the Boogie Betty, and yeah, I just want to try and make some stuff for Boogie Betty and do a couple of local shows and maybe try and run it around somewhere. Yeah, up to that really.
Yeah, sweet.
It was like yeah, it was different. Trying to make the 5th season was quite a bit. It was actually a challenge, that one. And
challenge in like inspiration, or a challenge in sort of like the process of writing?
I think it's like more of like what's going on in your life.
Yeah.
For any creative, you know, it can affect it. It's quite hard to separate sometimes.
Yeah.
And at the time, it was kind of that. So yeah, tricky not to talk about it. I work in a certain way.
Yeah.
And it's I like speed.
Yeah. I can get that. It's like, I mean, even with, you know, what we do, it's emotion is tied to our work because we're creatives.
Yeah, totally.
So it doesn't even matter what it is. It's a real, like, it's almost like healing sometimes, but then it can be the opposite.
Yeah,
be a real challenge.
It's like it's hard to turn off.
Yeah,
it is. You know, you go and you think about it, thinking about the project, or you thinking about your idea.
Lie down in bed and thinking about it still.
Yeah, hard out. So yeah, it's that kind of feeling, and you know when things really feel in sync. There's certain projects that you do that they're like amazing things because everything was aligned. That one was quite tricky. Just certain things weren't aligned, but the things that were aligned were great.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're trying to get those things that are aligned.
Yeah.
And they're just
the challenge of creativity. That is.
Oh man, hard. Yep.
Now you're our first guest. So what we're going to do in the Creative Exchange is basically hand a gift from one guest to another. It can be a book, a record, just anything really, anything creative that has inspired you. And as you're the first guest, we're going to give you our gift to you, which is an album that absolutely
Free Nationals.
Yeah, we thrash this album.
Thank you, guys. I love these guys.
This is the Evoke album.
So this was thrashed during this studio build and has got a lot of memories tied to that album. So that is our exchange to you, Fran. We hope you get some inspiration out of it as much as we did.
Oh, thank you, guys.
No worries, bro.
But yeah, what is something we can pass on to the next guest from you that was some sort of inspiration or something?
A book. I don't have the physical book. I was reading it on, was it Playbook or Google Playbook?
We'll make sure to get the
those
physical
kind of
one.
things.
We'll get the physical one.
Yeah. But it's called The Lost Book of Enki by Zachariah Sitchins. It's a bit of a tricky language to get through, but it kind of feels like you're reading Shakespeare a little bit. But once you get the flow of it, then you get the story. Amazing story.
Nice.
Lost Book of Enki.
Well, we look forward to passing that on to the next guest, whoever
that
may be. And now, as I said earlier, we recorded 2 tracks with Fran, Champion and Calling. These will be up on the YouTube page so you can catch some tunes from the very amazing musician, Fran Kora. Fran, it's been amazing to have you on the podcast today.
Pleasure to be here,
bro.
Uh-huh.